ready to start?
Yes,
Got
we
it.
do.
Okay. And so
And-
first,
Get your cursor off screen.
yeah, I will. Thanks, Steve. So Phil, I'll let you read the titles. You can skip the date, but monochrome basic 4 images, that sort of thing. Go ahead.
Okay, monochrome basic, 4 images.
Perfect.
The good ship Antigua in just the right place.
Can everybody hear me okay, first of all?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, good. Yeah, this is a nice image. It looks, I feel like I'm looking at something, a page out of history, but done in a, more of a contemporary way. And the ship is a great focal point, and it's really in the perfect position here in the composition. And the foreground is very interesting. And it's all shale rock, it looks like, and it's all over the place. And so it's consistent. It really adds a lot of dimension to the image overall. The black and white tones are quite nice. It's sort of a aged photo. It's not totally black and white. It's more aged, sort of with a sepia tint to it, but really a nice image. Next.
Hornson Svalbard 2022.
Yeah, and this is a nice mountain image, and you can kind of feel the cold from here, not only from the glacier, but from the atmosphere with the clouds and the cloud passing in front of the mountain here. That's a nice effect. Again, well composed, nice use of the rule of thirds, nicely exposed. I can see, everything from a black to a white. The snow or ice has texture in it. So again, nicely done.
Barentsburg Svalbard.
I really like this image a lot. This is something I have never seen before. So it's very unusual. It's unique. And this wonderful leading line that we have of what looks like it used to be a pier or a boardwalk is just really, really nice. And it leads us back to this interesting building on the left, which looks like some kind of Orthodox church. And then that building on the right is also really pretty old by itself. So you have some really nice leading lines, wonderful composition. The shutter speed was short enough that we can see it actually, I'm going to say maybe snowing or raining or something, but really great use of depth of field in this also. Everything is really, really sharp. Nice image.
A very large array.
Yeah, and another great image. This one, for some reason, architectural subjects really do well in black and white. They really look great. And this is no exception. And I like the fact that the truck here in the foreground helps to give this huge radar dish a sense of scale, since there's no people in here or anything. So it's ranged very nicely. It's got a nice balance to it. You can see the smaller dishes out there in the background there. And I think you filled the frame very nicely.
Monochrome intermediate, 6 images. Cypress Lane.
Yeah, I love the composition here. Right down through the center of the trees here, there's a pathway that leads the eye right back into the way back there into the trees. I'm looking at this, however, and I'm seeing something that I'm not quite sure what's going on. I see light in the foreground on the ground, and on a little bit of the trees, but then I see no sky in the top. And in my mind is thinking that I need to see some light through the trees. So I'm not sure if the light was subdued somehow, darkened down. I don't know, but that light just, I can't reconcile how the light is not coming through the trees here when I see the light on the ground. But I love the composition. It's very nice.
The Waffle House, Madisonville, Tennessee, number 2.
Okay, so this image, all I can think about is who's going to clean up the mess? Because there's just batter everywhere. And the one thing that I'm not really seeing here, it's a little bit hard to see what the scale is, how big these are. So, and the way that it's presented feels to be a little bit static. We have even numbers that are kind of, you're either looking at one side or the other. And so it does feel a little bit static. I think perhaps if it was a little bit, if the image itself captured a little bit more detail on the sides, I think we'd have a better idea of exactly how big these are, what they're doing and that sort of thing. Next.
Love Under a Great Big Sky.
I see 2 people down here. Whether they're in love or not, it's a little bit hard to tell. But I really like that the photographer did a nice composition with the tree and the people under the tree down here in the lower left, and used the sky as sort of a negative space, if you will, to kind of create its own shape. But that said, I almost think that it's a little bit too much, and I'd kind of like to see a little bit more land, and perhaps kind of think of the rule of thirds here and bring it up to that first line in the grid. So, but it's a great concept, and I'm just wondering if maybe there's just a little bit too much sky. Next.
Classic colonial old town building, Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic.
I love the weathering, the weathered look on this, the 2 balconies. It's got a starkness about it, but it's still nicely exposed. The door and the balcony on the right-hand side, you'll notice are very, very straight up and down. The one on the left is, you're starting to see a distortion there. My thought there would be if perhaps if you're using Lightroom or something that has transform capability, perhaps use that to straighten out the vertical lines. And I think it would be a bit stronger image. Next.
Walking in Fog.
Yeah, this is a fun image. Everything, all the elements here really come together to highlight the 2 walkers. They look like girls, so I'm going to say the 2 girls. So yeah, everything about this sort of frames these 2 girls that are on the beach. Having this little pool of water with the rocks in here really adds depth again and dimension, and it really makes for an interesting photograph. I like the composition, good use of rule of thirds here again, and well exposed too.
The Waffle House, Madisonville, Tennessee, number 1.
Okay, there's the waffle irons again. So here you can really get a feel for how big they are. And I think in the first image we saw they looked much bigger. But here, you know, I really like this image too, because we have a human figure in here, and we really get a much better idea of the lay of the land, what she's doing. And she's got her head tilted back like she's calling out to somebody like, hey, your order's ready or whatever. And so I think that human element really adds to this image. And this one I really like.
Monochrome advanced, 8 images. An exuberant cumulus drama queen, Florida.
Well, no doubt, clouds do put on quite a show, and I think this is no exception. And having those light rays coming out from behind the clouds is nicely captured. I don't know if this was a cropped image or if it's full frame, but there is a bit of looks like articulation or pixelation down here in the cloud in the foreground, which kind of it just bothers me a little bit that that's there. I really would like to see really smooth clouds. So that's a bit of a drawback, but I think the drama in this kind of is definitely prominent, and yeah, it's a nice picture.
Winter's soliloquy.
Shooting leaves in the snows, it's a lot of fun. I love these intimate landscapes, and whether you have 1 or 2 or 3, they really work well. I see a little bit of shadow in the snow underneath the leaf. You can tell that the leaf hasn't moved because there's an area here where I think the snow is actually overlapping the leaf on the left side there. And so it looks like it's been there a while. And you can see a little bit of shadow underneath in that textured area. However, the rest of the image, I'm not seeing, at least in my computer, on my screen, I'm not seeing any texture in the snow. And so it just looks like a dead space. It just looks white, and there's just not enough texture to keep my interest in this image. So I think this could be cropped pretty severely just to have that one leaf in there, instead of all of the white area. Next.
Furrowed Grace.
This is a beautiful design in the sand, and I've been intrigued by these sand and water compositions a lot, and they're quite beautiful. I like the tones in this. You have good definition. You can see the relief in this, the depth. There's a little problem area up on top, almost right in the middle, where again, I don't know in this case what's going on, but it's almost like the camera distorted it somehow. And I see a bit of sharp sand right next to a bit of blurred sand. And so that doesn't quite, but you know, that's, I'm being real picky here, but that's the only issue that I can see on this, because otherwise it's a beautiful design that was captured.
Kabloom version 3.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what this is. I kind of would like to know what it is. It's could be some kind of a cacti maybe or something, I don't know. But it's an interesting flower, and I'm just not sure if, again, this was crop so heavy or what exactly, but I really wish it was sharper. I wish we could really see a defined area in the little black, whatever those are coming out of the flower. Again, I see some kind of articulation, which kind of detracts from it overall. So, but you know, the composition is really nice. I like that you have the main subject over to the left and not directly in the middle. So it makes a nice diagonal line. So it's a nice composition. Next.
Some tracks in the sand, Sossusfly Dunes, Namibia.
Okay, so I actually think I see two sets of tracks in here. There's the bigger tracks that you can see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think. I believe those are tracks. And then you see smaller tracks that go through the right side of the prints, the 3 prints on the right. It's a little bit hard to tell that they're tracks because they seem to be above ground. I can't, it's really hard again to see the depth here. But I wish there was a little bit more of some things going on. Unfortunately, the texture of the sand doesn't help the situation any. It just sort of, it hides the prints rather than really shows them. And so to me, it would be a difficult image to really catch because you're dealing with actually a difficult kind of subject with all the grain that's happening in it. Next.
The definition of awesome.
Yeah, again, I would love to know what kind of tree this is, but I really like it. It's magnificent. It's that trunk, that's just got to be just huge. And the great thing about this too is that you have a person in here, which really gives this scale, which you really need in this kind of an image, because you have this overhanging tree that's covering up the top of this tree. But you know, that doesn't bother me because the trunk is really the thing that captures one's attention, and it's just massive. So having the person in there really adds a sense of scale to it. And I think you've done really well with the exposure on this, shooting through the leaves and the trees and everything. So overall, it's a very, very nice composition and a very nice image.
Bones of the forest.
And we have another tree, which is fine by me because I love trees and I love shooting them. And I love this image. I love the contrast. It's perfect that you have this tree in the center of the image because it's so visually prominent, and it's front and center basically. Could there be a little bit more shadow detail on the right? Yeah, a little bit. We see a little bit, but not, not as much as on the left side. But overall, the contrast here and the fact that you did it in black and white, I think really makes a very strong statement. Next.
Afternoon light in Basilica of the National Vow in Quito, Ecuador.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful interior. I love shooting stuff like this. This is, and you happen to catch it at a time where it looks like there's some people in the front, but they're just so tiny that you don't even know that they're there. And that's good. That's good. I think you really get a sense of space with this. Here again, I think that a little bit of transform work could help the left side of this straighten out. And using that tool, again, if you're using Lightroom or Photoshop, if you're using that software, you can straighten this out to some degree. I think that's the one area where this is a little weak on, but a beautiful interior.
Monochrome Masters, 6 images. Decisions.
Okay, so yeah, he's trying to make a decision here as to, I guess, what weight he wants to put on this bar. I love the contrasts in here. The shadow detail is really good. And it's sort of dark and moody, and he just really pops off the background there. I kind of wish that maybe in a future moment here, he would pick up the bar and put the weight on, and I think that would be a really, really nice image as well. But I think yeah, in that sense, I think it could be a little bit stronger. So, but I love the mood that this is creating, and I love the contrast in black and white. Next.
Perspective and repetition.
Yeah, nicely done. A wonderful symmetrical image, using symmetry. And, you know, I noticed that everything is really well balanced here on either side. You have the center line that goes up, and the center line is pretty much halfway into the image. And so you've really looked at this and spent time composing this, and it works really well. Good exposure. And I also love the fact that it looks like it was perhaps a long shutter, because if those are clouds up there, they're all smoothed out. So, and it really makes a great statement shooting it like this. Very nice. Next.
Sisyphus Revisited.
Yeah. I figured out finally that these are rock climbers, and the girl down here that, well, I think she's a girl, but whatever she's got on her back just doesn't really feel part of the image to me. And you know, this is monochrome. It's kind of like pictorial. You can pretty much do, any subject is okay. You can pretty much do whatever you want. You can take things out, put things in. And I just, yeah, that's the one minor distraction for me, because I like the guy up on top of the rock, and I like the guy down here holding up the rock. So to me, that makes, yeah, and the rock itself looks split in half. So interesting. I think black and white suits this really well.
Junior Ranger.
Yeah, I like the title, because that's what's on his hat. So that works very well. Great expression on this young ranger. And although we can't really, we don't see him looking at us, we still have sort of a connection with him, and we see his joy. So I think there's that emotional tug here, that gesture that he's making with his smile. The skin looks a bit soft overall to me. I've lost some of the detail, I think, in his skin. And I kind of think that it could be lightened up just a bit. Some of those shadows could be brought out under his hat, perhaps. But great expression, and very nice image overall, composition. And I like him on the black background, particularly. That works really well.
Eau de toilette.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. I didn't really see what it was at first. I had a little bit, it took me a little time to kind of figure it out. And then I saw the, whiffs of parfum. coming out. And the one on the right looks a little bit more realistic than the one on the left. But yeah, I think this was I think you had a really nice kind of a prevision on how you wanted to do this. And I think it came out pretty well. So interesting image.
The Pacunayagua, Cuba's longest bridge.
Yeah. What I like about this especially is the old car on the bridge. And it's kind of like, you know, going on vacation in the 50s when no other cars are on the road. And so it's kind of reminiscent of, for me, of that era. Again, there's an area here which could be fixed, perhaps the bridge. It's a little bit distorted once again. And the exposures, you have a really dark area on the left here, and a really bright area of foliage in the center, and then more shade over here on the right. I think the exposures just needs to be worked on just a little bit, maybe bring down the highlights and bring out more detail in the shadows over here on the left to kind of even out the exposure. But yeah, it's fun reminiscing with a photo like this.
Nature Basic, 2 images. Red and green macaws, Aura chloropteris, take flight together from their nest at Bride's Veil Waterfall in Chapada de Guimarães, Brazil.
Yeah, beautiful pair of macaws. You've done a nice job with the depth of field here, blurring the background. You can see what the environment looks like, but it's not distracting at all. My only issue with this is I wish it was just a little bit sharper. You know, when you have sharp eyes, but the wings are moving, in my mind, that's okay. But here the eyes are still a little bit soft. So perhaps a faster shutter speed might help correct that situation. Yeah, I appreciate the fact that you photographed these, because these birds are actually becoming harder to find, just because of, you know, poaching and pet sales and all that sort of thing that's happening. So next.
A black-backed jackal, Lupulella mesomelis, digs in the dirt in search of food. Jackals feed on small to medium-sized animals, as well as leftover kills made by other predators. KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa.
Very well shot. You don't have you don't have any background information back there at all, which is fine. I mean, it's just plain blue sky. So this guy's out on a, you know, flat area, flat plain somewhere. But your perspective is excellent. You're right down almost on, well, you're probably on the ground, literally. So that's what it looks like to me. So and that's what pros do, you know, they get down to eye level whenever and if at all possible at any given time. So yeah, really good image. The dirt is you can see the dirt being kicked up by his paws. And let's just hope he gets something. Next.
Nature Intermediate, 4 images. Aquatic weeds, 1 of 2. Swans traverse a carpet of aquatic weeds on the surface of Spring Lake, Santa Rosa. Harmless, the growth is sometimes harvested, but often goes away on its own. 2 of 2. The swans feed on submerged plants with their long necks. The surface weeds are a mix of 2 tiny fern-like plants green duckweed, and rose rim clumps of olive azolla.
Yeah, there's a lot of information here in the title, which I think really helps this image. I just, you wonder why they choose to to swim in that. It just looks like, looks like a quagmire almost. So, but yeah, I think you've done a pretty good job with the two images. Each one has a specific step, if you will. So we have the swans here that are swimming in this, and then the next image you have them eating. And so I think that's a nice step, if you will, into this story. I wish the quality of the image was a little bit better on both images, but I think the information in the story is very helpful.
This sea slug nudibranch was found at Duxbury Reef, Marin County, at low tide. The species is known as the Spanish shawl. The orange cerata extract oxygen from the sea and also aid in digestion.
This just really pops off the page. It's just beautiful. I've never seen a sea slug like this, and I think it's wonderful that you actually saw it in the ocean instead of in an aquarium somewhere, because here you're getting the full effect. You're getting the benefit of no glass between you and the sea slug, and so you're maximizing the beauty of this little guy and the color. It's just really nicely done. I love the curve that the animal is making, and yeah, just very nicely done.
Belted kingfisher, Megaceral alcyon, with crawfish. As Santa Rosa's Piner Creek rose from the recent rains, this alert male caught a bottom crawler seeking higher ground.
I know how difficult it is to photograph a kingfisher. So kudos to actually being able, not only did you capture the kingfisher, you caught him with prey in his mouth. And so, that's fantastic. And he's even turning his head towards you so you can photograph him. Again, I wish it was sharper. I think the background is slightly busy, but you know what? The kingfisher just and his prey, it's a strong story, and that just kind of overrides the distractions of the background. Yeah, so nice job catching this guy.
Sanderlings, Calidris alba, inhabit North American shorelines. Here they probe for tiny prey in sand left wet by receding waves.
Well, first of all, I love that you have just 3 in here, because again, rule of thirds is like is similar to the rule of odds, in which we use odd numbers of elements in an image. So 3 or 5 or 7 and so on, until you get to the point where it doesn't even make any difference anymore. But yeah, this is nice, and they're equally spaced out, which I don't mind at all. One little guy has food in his mouth over here. The other 2 are still looking, but you have really nice light on these little guys too. And that really, really helps to enhance an image. And so they're really fun to photograph. They're fun to look at and observe. And you used a really nice aspect ratio for this also.
Nature Advanced, 4 images. North American river otters live along the waterways and coasts of North America. They feed on fish and crustaceans.
Great shot. You know, here again, look at the eye-to-eye contact you have with this guy. So somehow you were low enough to really capitalize on not only his expression, the fact that he just is getting out of the water, but you know, he's almost devoured the entire fish. But you still have that tail to prove that, you know, it's for real. So the reeds nicely frame him. The greenery around there is just very indicative of the habitat. Well exposed, sharp eyes. I appreciate that, and excellent image.
Cotton grass, 1 of 2. Actually a sedge, not a grass. Areophorum schuseri is adapted to the tundra environment, especially acid bog areas. It serves as a food source for animals, birds, and insects. 2 of 2. Humans have a long history with this plant. Inuits once used the cotton-like fibers to make oil lamp wicks, to dress wounds, and to stuff pillows, and even baby diapers.
Yeah, these are just really pretty, and they look so much like just little cotton balls. It's amazing. There is yeah, a nice story here between, you have a kind of a close-up of this one, and then which we can really see in detail, yeah, just all the fibers here and everything. And then the second image, they're in a clump, probably in which they grow all over the place. So, so you've given us 2 really nice versions here of this grass with some interesting information. And so this, I think, you know, you've done a real nice job documenting this.
Bighorn sheep, Ovis condensis, ewe with maturing lamb. Lambs are weaned in 4 to 6 months.
Well, it looks like you can almost walk up and pet them. They look so calm. And I think sometimes the animals are as curious about us as we are of them. Yeah, this is just a really great portrait of mom and baby. And the rock behind is, you know, kind of is this red color, which I think even enhances the image. They're on a slant, kind of a diagonal, which gives it more of a dynamic feel. And you have their attention, and it's just a very nice portrait.
Climbing up, an elephant cow and calf in Etosha National Park, Namibia. African elephants, Loxodona africana, are listed as vulnerable by the International Union for Conservation of Nature.
I like this image. This is so cute. And I do appreciate the information here. I have one remaining question, and that is, what is he climbing up? I kind of want to know what he's climbing up. Is he climbing up to more water? Is he climbing? Are there other elephants up there that he wants to be part of? So I'm curious about that. And you know, I like it. I like the mother. I like the fact that the mother is, I think she's probably using her trunk to push up this little baby, and he's yeah, just really cute. Not real crazy about the shadows in here across his face, but I can forgo that and just appreciate the story.
Nature Masters, 4 images. Fly agaric Amanita muscaria is poisonous and infamous for its psychoactive and hallucinogenic properties.
Well, to me, this looks like it would be somewhat hallucinogenic. I don't think I'd want to touch this thing, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful in its own way. Technically, I think there's a couple of issues here. One is that you have a really bright hot spot on the mushroom itself, and that again takes away some of the detail that you probably would otherwise be able to see a little bit better. I'm not so sure you need all that background in there. You could cut that down, and we could actually see a closer view of that if it were cropped and brought closer to us. But as far as the story, yeah, it's a very interesting mushroom to come across. But I wish there was, maybe something besides the tree that gave us just a little bit more sense of scale here.
Townsend's warbler, Cetophagia townsendii, enjoying a ripe Fuyu persimmon, Santa Rosa, California.
Yep. I didn't know at first what he was eating because I really didn't recognize the persimmon, but I do know that birds love persimmons. Some don't, but a lot of them do. But what's interesting here is that you can see the little guy eating the persimmon because his mouth is open and you see his tongue. And so you can see him definitely liking this persimmon. Beautiful bird. The eye is sharp, and there's nothing that detracts from the image. I will say though that I think it's a little dark, and I think by just lightening it up a little bit, either by using white or just use the exposure slider, you can just brighten it up just a bit, because it does seem a little bit dark to me. Next.
Fun guy, 1 of 3. Inky cap, Coprinosus are edible and even delicious by some account. However, some are poisonous if eaten with alcohol.
Ugh. That's a little scary. Well, I don't like mushrooms, so it's a good thing.
2 of 3. The delicate patterns on these inky caps are part of a veil that protects the developing caps. 3 of 3. The ink from the caps was used to guard against forgery, as the spores could be detected under a microscope. Ink forms as caps decompose and turn black.
Well, again, another nice sequence with interesting information about these mushrooms. And I've never seen them before. They're very unusual. I'm really intrigued with how they sort of blend into their background, and probably a little difficult to spot all the time. They're really beautiful. So again, I like the different segments here that you've chosen. I think in this case, perhaps even one image with the story could suffice, but I think you've enhanced it by creating these 3 different images. Technically, I think they're pretty well done. The second one is a little bit, I can't quite tell what's going on, if that's really what the mushroom looks like, or if it's just not quite sharp enough in the at the top of the mushroom. I don't know, but I think they're beautiful. Next.
Cacti collect dewdrops on sharp spines. In addition to providing protection and shade, spines collect moisture under arid conditions.
When I see something like this, I'm just kind of amazed that a plant can do this. The way they hold on to these droplets is just amazing. And it makes such a beautiful photogenic picture. Yeah, I really enjoy this entire story and this pattern that that nature makes for us to kind of behold. So yeah, really, really nice.
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break. We've got 2 categories down. We have 2 more to go, plus the non-compete critique images. Go back in 5 minutes. Yep. If we can-
All right. Pictorial, basic, 1 image.
And
Caribbean flamingo.
it's a flamingo. Yeah. Flamingos are great subjects to shoot. Just because they do a lot of this, curving their necks back and putting their, nestling their head into their feathers and sleeping, and they're just really, really fun birds to photograph. And I think this is no exception. And coming in really tight like this allows you to see the eye and see the behavior, but it also makes a very nice curved line, the neck does, and the feathers, and so it all works together. And yeah, so, and the color, of course, the color, you can make it pop or make it subdued. There's just all kinds of fun things you can do with it.
Pictorial intermediate, 5 images. Matchsticks.
Matchsticks. Okay. This this is a great scene. And this is the best time to take it, is during fall. We have a few few trees over here on the left. They're bare already, but there's still a lot of color there. And the trunks definitely look like matchsticks. And matchsticks kind of imply that let's hope there's not a fire, so that's kind of my feeling about the title here. But here's the other thing. I think there's so much color in here. I think you could really pump this up a little bit by adding a little vibrance, and maybe white, if you're using Lightroom, a white slider. Really punch up the color a little bit, because I think it would go a long ways. Next.
Pools and riffles along the North Fork of the Kings River.
Okay. And it looks like a neutral density filter was used, because otherwise this would be really hard to capture during the day, having that water look soft and sort of cottony looking. It's a nice scene. This is one of those scenes that I see a picture kind of in several different places. So, but you've created a nice wide view of it. The horizon, which you can see back by the rocks along the bank there, are tilted down. The whole thing is tilted to the left. And so my brain wants to see it actually straightened, because that's how I make order out of chaos. And so by straightening that horizon back there, even if there is water going down to the right, I think by straightening that, you're going to get a more effective, more realistic rendition of this particular image. And one other thing I will point out is that you have a tiny, tiny bit of sky there up at the top. That's just enough to just take your eye up and out of the picture. And so choose to either include the entire sky or choose to not include it at all. Yeah, just a couple of thoughts there. Next.
Wild bee, it's what's for dinner.
Well, if you look real close at this, you can see that this guy has a piece of his bee leg in his mouth already. Poor bee, I feel bad for it. But I've seen praying mantises eating hummingbirds before, so
Wow.
they can be very vicious creatures. They're but I love them. They're just so cool. And this one, I'm not sure what stage he is in because he's so light colored. I'm not sure. I'm not that savvy on insects and how they, work and all that. But this image has a lot of impact, which I think is important in Pictorial. Your images have to have impact. And so this definitely has some impact, and this flower is pretty here too. So pretty environment, but not too good an environment for the bee.
In the wings.
I love this young boy looking at his reflection in the mirror, and it looks like he's straightening his turban, getting his turban ready to participate in the festivities, which are reflected in the mirror, and you can see that going on in there too. To me, that's where the image is. To me, that's I'm not sure you really need the inclusion so much of the blue door and or even the top of the mirror. It's all in this bottom part of the image. I love that expression, and he's very well seen in this. So it's really nice capture.
Sitting on top of the world.
These guys love to find the highest spot. This is his territory, so he's making sure that nobody else is invading his spot here. And while I like the overall shape of the cacti plant coming out with these tendrils on them, it's a little bit hard then to see the hummingbird. He almost becomes sort of secondary to the plant. And I would just maybe suggest recomposing this so that making a vertical out of this. So you still have the plants that is his territory, but you can also hopefully bring in the hummingbird as a little bit of a larger, more dominant subject.
Pictorial advance, 7 images. Encroachment.
The thing about this dead wood is that one day it's going to provide sustenance for all the plants that are encroaching on it. And so, it's a very simple image, but it still tells a story. I do like that the log is running diagonally in the composition. It gives it more of a dynamic feel. But yet again, I would love to see something else in there, or even if there was a little bird sitting on the log or something like that, just to give it sort of a secondary focal point. Next.
Sunrise on the Sossusfly Dunes, Namibia.
This dune is so huge. It's I love the fact that the sun is hitting it early morning sunrise, and I don't even know that it's come up all the way yet, but yeah, beautiful color in here. I would actually like to see less sky. I think that way, if there was less sky and you were able to crop this just a bit, that you would actually enlarge the the mountain of sand and visually actually bring it closer to you, to just create a little bit more visual appeal. So the clouds are nice and everything, but they just don't, for me, the sky and the clouds just don't hold up to the mountain of sand here. And I think that could be enhanced. Next.
Taffany at Gersel Cove, Salt Point State Park, California.
Well, this inspires me to go there and photograph because I love this. This is just so cool. What a great design. And you know, nature's design, it's just beautiful. Yeah, I don't even know what else to say about it other than there's, you know, if you really want to get picky, there's a little down here on the right hand corner, the depth of field goes off a little bit, but to me that's not even obvious when you look at this beautiful design that nature has provided, and that's not even a big deal. So yeah, really great capture.
Old Meets New in Ecuador. The cable bridge over Napo River in Coca towers over traditional buildings on stilts.
I like this because we get a little bit of everything here. We get this bridge that has an interesting design to it with all these lines and these cement spires that go up. So in that sense, these vertical lines make for a very strong image. And then down here at the bottom, you have a lot of little interesting houses and things to look at. You have this kind of a big, looks like a beach boat, long boat on the left side, and some houses on the right side. So overall, it's just a very nice scene. And I really appreciate you not trying to include the whole entire bridge, because this is something that you can, that we know what it is, our brain tells us what it is, and you've made a very nice image out of it.
Take a bow.
Take a bow. Okay. Great composition. The flower is bent over here. The flower seems, you know, by the way, red is one of the hardest colors for digital camera to render correctly. And so the fact that it turned out as well as it did here, I think is great, because I can see gradations of the red in here. So that part I like. The stem, however, there's a real bad hot spot on the stem at the top here, and so I think your lighting has to be adjusted to maybe it's coming from the top, and perhaps if you had a little bit more of a side light, or tone that light down just a bit, that you could eliminate that hot spot there. But the composition is very nice, and good job on the red.
Cafe lights.
This is fun. I like this image. Don't know what you did to it, but if they, you know, if this is somebody else's art and this is exactly what it looked like, then the composition is great. It's great nevertheless. But if you tweak if you did something to it, I think you did a really great job at doing that. And you know, I do see it's kind of a vignette around this, and I don't even know if you need that vignette. So I love the colors in it. It's very nice. And again, really nice composition. I love the one in the foreground playing up bigger than the one in the background.
Breaking Dawn.
Really nice colors in this. This actually looks like kind of, you know, a real image without any enhancements, because these colors can be really hard to work with sometimes. You know, the pinks, oranges up here in the sky. Sometimes we back off the blue and it becomes gray. And so the fact that you, I don't think you did too much in post, it renders really well in reality. It's probably not, you know, the best composition. I'd love to see more of the foreground. I'd love to see, you know, the trees grounded, that sort of thing. But I appreciate the fact that this is probably almost exactly what you saw when you took this picture.
Pictorial Masters, 7 images. Heading home.
Heading home. Yeah, I love the cows in the sunlight. You know, they have their butts to us, but I thought about that, and I thought, why don't we enhance that fact that the butts are facing us? I am looking at the right side of the image and I'm thinking, you know, there's nothing really that interesting over there on this side. What if you made this a vertical? And again, this is pictorial. You can kind of do whatever you want to, and make this a vertical and just really kind of hone in on the butts of the cows, because then you really have a good story here that says these guys are heading home. So just my 2 cents on that.
Alarm, Sandhill Cranes, Fairbanks, Alaska.
Nice group of cranes. Here again, you'll notice the odd numbers. This is, you got 5 cranes here. The odd numbers do allow your eye to linger just a little bit longer in an image, because there's just added stuff to look at with that odd number. That's what they theorize anyway. And the one in front is the one that's sharp. You probably shot this with a very long lens, because the guy in the front who's got his head up is sharp, really sharp. The guy on the second one here is pretty sharp too. The ones in the background kind of fade out, and that's fine because they're back further, and that's just the way it goes. But the good thing is that you have the eye visible on each bird. So that's really nice. And they're making this nice triangular, or I should say like a pyramid shape. So the composition works really, really well. And again, they're in their own habitat. So very nice.
Trompole.
So this, to me, when I first glanced at it, it looked like a window. The train or the overpass here, the bridge itself, just framed the background there to where it just looks like another an entrance to this this kind of world back there. And the train tracks connect it. They connect the two. So it's sort of a optical illusion, if you will, for me, that the bridge has framed this the way it does, and it just, you know, it looks like I don't know how to describe it, but I just thought it was intriguing and made for a great image. And the train tracks just, you know, act like a great leading line for this.
Fresh snow on the barn creates a feeling of life in a time long ago.
Oh yeah, these you know, a lot of these barns, especially up in the Palouse area in Eastern Washington, and the old ones are falling down and they can't replace them. So this is a beautiful barn. Don't know where it is, but I'd kind of like to know where it is actually. But yeah, I like the whatever they call it, the thing on the top of the barn. I don't know what that's called, but that makes a kind of a interesting focal point there. I like the light on the barn. The snow's untouched, and that's really nice. the tree over here, it's very dark in the center, and I would like to see the shadows brought out so we have a little bit more detail in the tree to look at. I think that would complement the barn really well, and I think it would complement the rest of the trees that are around in the background there.
A timeless dawn.
Well, you can't beat a view of the Grand Canyon, that's for sure. This is a nice one. And I like that. I like the inclusion of the rocks on the right here on the bottom with a little snow on top. And I think that's snow, maybe not, maybe it's not snow, I don't know. Anyway, the inclusion of that is very nice because that gives us this, again, that sense of depth. And I love that you were able to shoot this in the early morning hours because the light is fantastic. And we can see pretty well deep down into the canyons too. So good exposure. Next.
White light.
White light, and it's illuminating this flower, and we have a lot of shadow detail too, but I like that because it's very it's very light shadows, not dark shadows at all, which I think would be too contrasty. So this affords a really nice soft feel. And I can't tell, I think there's probably a painterly maybe filter or something that was put on this, but it's so minimal that I like it. I mean, I like that minimalist kind of feeling about it. So nice composition overall.
The flood of 2023 begins.
Yeah, this is crazy, huh? And that must be the moon up there. It couldn't be the sun, I don't think, anyway. But I this is great. I like the I like that this is documented. This is going to be something that people will probably look at for years to come to see how flooded everything was. So that has, you know, that by itself has the impact that you want in an image. I would like to see more of it. I would like to see the camera perhaps tilted down to see the rest of what's happening at the bottom of this field here. Again, I don't think you need so much sky. It's nice to have the moon in there, but I don't think that that's what the story is about. So getting as much of that information into your image, you know, when you see something like this, you want to shoot what you see. And what I'm seeing here is the water. And so just keep that in mind. And sometimes you have to give something else up in the process. Next.
Okay, we have no travel images in the B level, so we'll move to travel intermediate, 3 images. Salt Creek in Death Valley typically has water only in the winter months.
What caught my eye about this image were the bird tracks here, because and it's hard to see really how large they are. It looks like a large bird, but usually there aren't very, you know, there's not a large bird or not a lot of large birds in Death Valley at all. But so the tracks really caught my attention. And you know, Salt Creek is also the home of the pupfish, and that would be nice to include something about the pupfish in the story here. Just as a side note, I think it's a really nice composition. Again, catching those bird feet in there really make the image. Again, I think you could probably lose some of the sky. It's not that relevant, you know, in not only this case, but a lot of times the sky just isn't that relevant. But yeah, really nice composition. And most people don't see Salt Creek like this too, because they're on a boardwalk. So this is a nice, nice, unique image.
St. John's Trunk Bay. The National Park Service controls most of this U.S. Virgin Island, allowing visitors to experience its tranquility, including pristine beaches and calming, clear waters.
Yeah, the waters are very inviting. The beach is very inviting. It looks like a really nice place to spend the day, or a week or two. Just depends on your tastes. But and there's some atmosphere in there. And one thing I'll say about the atmosphere, or I should say haze, it's a little hazy, but oftentimes, people try to eliminate the haze, and it becomes kind of fake looking sometimes if it's too much. And so I have no problem leaving the haze in an image like this, because it's real. It's a real portrayal of what you saw. Here again, I think this, I would like to see this more of a, perhaps an aspect ratio like 16:9 or 10, something like that, because I love the horizontal lines in here. And I think that kind of aspect ratio would really enhance that as a travel image. And there's a little bit of tree leaves over here on top of the right that I don't think need to be there, because they're kind of hanging out there in space right now. Next.
Gathering the ingredients for bouillabaisse, Vance Franc.
Okay, so yes, all about the fish, all about the bouillabaisse. And yeah, this is a interesting travel image, as far as, what you might see in the market, different ingredients, fish, and that sort of thing. So different size fish to look at. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what else you could do with it. Maybe you could just maybe include one, or what the top of the sign said here. That might be a little interesting to have that in there too. But overall, you got close in, and I appreciate that. So yeah, I definitely feel like I'm in a different country.
Travel, advanced 4 images. Big Sky Country, Montana. Sunset over Paradise Valley and the Absaroka Range.
Yeah, nice, nice sunset. I see some interesting little reflections here. It looks like water on the road. This looks like a little road going around the base of the bottom here, base of the trees. And so it's nice to catch things like the reflections of the sunset in the water like that. I see that, and I see that's what I want to, that's what I want to photograph. And I think you hit on it. And I that part works for me. It definitely gives me a sense of place. Although this could be in California, it could be, who knows? So I'd like something a little bit, something else to maybe identify, where this is, maybe a little more visually. But I like the sunset. I think it could be a little brighter, in the shadows down here. Yeah, so next.
3 rock climbers in various stages of ascent at Joshua Tree National Monument, 2/18/2022.
So you have to really look for these guys. They're not just immediately obvious. I think this would really work well in like a magazine for rock climbers, to be honest. I'm not sure everybody wants to do this, but it does speak to the fact that there are these places out there, maybe in Joshua Tree, but the park itself has this kind of activity that people can do. And also, that said, I would also, I feel that maybe it's a little bit too tight. I think there needs to be a little bit more breathing room up on the right side where this guy is sitting up there on the top. But if you did that, though, it might be harder to actually see the people in there. So they might get lost. So yeah, I'd have to think about that. But yeah, an image that would, I think, lend itself well to particular people who are interested in rock climbing.
Furnace, a small town on São Miguel Island, Azores, is situated in the caldera of a dormant volcano which last erupted in 1630. The area is still very active, geothermally speaking.
Well, the one thing that the description describes very well is the caldera, because you can really kind of see how by the mountains here that it really is kind of like, it looks like you're kind of looking into a round area, the caldera itself. So from that standpoint, I think you could even make it wider, almost, maybe create not a pano, but perhaps, including more on in a wide thing here that you're trying to shoot, which is the valley and the caldera itself. Use a wider angle and perhaps even do a panorama on this. I wish that it were shot at a different time of day, because the light is so harsh right now, and so it's a little bit hard to see the town and that sort of thing. But yeah, I would like to see this perhaps, more visually. I'd like to see more on the sides of the images itself. Next.
Grand Central Station, one of the iconic architectural landmarks of New York City and a gem of the Beaux Arts style, was built in 1913 and was one of the largest enclosed spaces of its time.
The diagonal line here that the lights are making is really strong, and the blue and the yellow just really complement each other. Looking up sometimes is, always, it's amazing what you might see when you look up. It's not accurate as far as the lines being straight here, but this is a tough one. And so I can forgive this to a certain extent. But I think you still could straighten out the horizontal stairway here at the bottom. But I think the blue and the yellow just really are strong enough to kind of overlook that. And the really strong diagonal line in the lights. Next.
Travel Masters 4 images. Inside the crumbling tenements of Havana, Cuba.
Okay, so this is a sweet image, but it feels really sad to me, unfortunately. And really what I'm not seeing here is a crumbling house. I mean, I see a house, but I don't see anything that's crumbling. And so I just feel that the title sometimes has to be more in line with what you're actually photographing. But from a standpoint of composition and that sort of thing. I like that you have him centered in the image, because everything on the outside, all those elements that we see, his house, the couch, the TV, and the back on the table there, really help to create a nice background for him directly in the center. So rule of thirds is out in this case, and having him dead center in the image, I think, works super well. But I just don't see what the title is depicting as much here as I'd like to.
The White House ruins in Canyon de Chelly, Arizona, is an 80-room, multi-storied complex built by the ancestral Puebloans about 1,000 years ago. The upper story provided sanctuary during enemy incursions.
Well, I haven't been here. I would love to go here just based on this image. Yeah, it's so interesting, and capturing something like this it just makes you think so much about how these people lived and how they got up there in the first place. How did they get up there? You can even see some petroglyphs on the side of the cliff here, right under the dwellings on the top. So yeah, I definitely, this is a great inspiration for me to want to go there and see this place. Very nice.
Rajasthani folk musician playing a ravanhata, a string instrument played with a bow and considered to be the ancestor of the violin, outside American Fort in Jaipur, Rajasthan, India.
Okay, so you can even almost hear the music here by the fact that his hand is moving, it's blurred. And so he's in the progress of playing this instrument. It's a really interesting instrument. I think you've captured everything here that's important, and nothing is clipped except for the carpet, but you don't need that whole carpet in there. You see the money laying there. You see this other wooden, I'm assuming it's part of the instrument, which is intact, and the background enhances everything. It's just sort of this wonderful texture of subdued color, and really works nicely to show off his turban and clothes and instrument. And he's also, here he's not centered. Here you have him off center, which works nicely.
Perito Moreno Glacier, covering almost 100 square miles, is one of the largest tourist destinations in Patagonia.
Yep. This is this glacier too, by the way, doesn't recede. It actually advances, which is really cool. So not all the glaciers are receding. But yeah, this is a good travel shot, because it's obvious that a lot of people want to go there, and people are milling about, taking pictures. They're probably going to head down to where you can actually see the glacier up close. They probably just got off the bus, and so everybody's excited to take pictures. So this doesn't, create sort of a desire to go see it for yourself. Next.
The critique feedback category, 6 images. Tuk-tuk driver wins prize for most creative use of a mask, Bangkok 2020.
Oh gosh, this is good. When I first saw this, I thought he was maybe in the hospital for some reason. I thought he was in a hospital bed, and I looked at it and I thought, oh no, that's his mask, right? Yeah, I thought he was injured, but this is great. The transition here from the foot, okay, to the hand, to the face, good depth of field. Even though the foot is slightly blurred, it's not totally blurred out. And so there's detail in there that works to be kind of a lead into the rest. And then the fact that the face is sharp, as in good, or has good focus, I should say, is nice. But then that the humor kicks in, and yeah, and it's just well done, well done.
Nesting rocks in the Alabama hills with the Inyo Mountains in the background.
Nice texture in these different layers. The lighting is interesting. It's almost like something you would see indoors in a museum. I know that's not the case, but I'm just suggesting that perhaps the rocks here in the foreground could probably use a little bit more light, because the lighting looks real subdued. And you have some light on the mountains in the background. It looks like it's an interesting image. I don't know if it quite works for me, because I'd rather see the foreground be, the immediate foreground. I'd like to see that be maybe less prominent than it is here. But I like the way the shapes work together in this. So interesting image. Next.
Imagine each window as a vignette with its own story to tell. 3 windows, 3 stories, Bangkok City Bus 2020.
Well, I think what you describe here is exactly what you're seeing. And so it makes sense to me, because by again having that number of 3, it all, it helps to just pull everything together. Everybody, all the women are doing something different. One's looking back, one's looking sort of to the side forward, and the other one is just kind of oblivious to everything. They're all wearing masks in different ways. So I like the image. I like the description of this, and this can be a lot of fun, just taking pictures of people in buses, buildings, or something like that. I've had people wave to me sometime from inside a restaurant, and while I'm taking their picture, it can be really fun and very interesting.
The Laguna de Santa Rosa.
I love the composition here. Look, and the mist just really makes this image quite nice, quite nice. It's not monotone either, though, and I'm wondering if it was supposed to be, or if this was intentional. The shadow in the water is much darker than it is in the tree. So I might try, if it were mine, I think I might try lightening up the shadow in the water to match the tree a little bit more, because to me it looks like almost 2 different colors. You have the yellow cast up top, but then you have sort of a blackish, almost purplish cast at the bottom. And so for me, I think for me, I would want it to be more of the same, but I don't know until I got into it if that would work or not. But the composition is outstanding.
Dude is styling in matching leather mask and pants. Bangkok 2020.
Love it. I love it. Grungy, modern. It's what the kids do now. They just, they're hip. And it looks like she's in some kind of a coffee shop reading her phone with the classic cat. I don't even know what that's called, but yeah, it's very popular in the Asian countries. And I think I love the blue in the background there. I think it could be clipped just a little bit to to kind of center her up a little. She's a little off left a little bit. I'd like to see her more centered in the image. But I love this look. I love the grunge, the bright colors. Everything is just so, bright and vivid. And here again, this is a great example of what I feel a pictorial image should do. It should really pop out at you in one way or the other, whether it's subject matter, color, whatever it is. It should really draw your attention in, so much so that you want to do a second read on it. So next.
Stair steps to the sky.
Really nice in black and white. Here's the architecture again, which I think renders so nicely in black and white. And you have some really interesting shadows and there's a play on shadows and light in here. I like it. I like the fact that if you look at the vertical lines, they're straight up and down in this case. Even on the side here, you can really see it. And that's one place where it really should be straight. Because then, my eye can really appreciate the overall architecture of this. Nice diagonal line here down at the bottom where it kind of changes pattern. So that and this diagonal line down here also with the bricks and everything really helps to break up this overall pattern here. And so, something that's better than just just the same pattern over and over again is something that breaks the pattern. And so I think that works really, really well.
Okay. Take another 5-minute break.
Okay.
Oh. And here we go. As soon as I switch to the other screen. Oh, come on.
You will get
Come on.
your tummy better.
There we go. Ah, the Zoom menu bar is in a totally different place than it's ever been before. Anyway,
It always happens.
always happens. Get the cursor out of there. And Monochrome Basic, 3 images, 3rd place. Cindy.
Woo. Am I supposed to say something or?
You could, yeah.
Okay. I took this at a place called A Very Large Array, which if you've been to Bosque, it's about an hour and a half outside Bosque in New Mexico.
Oh.
And last year it was closed, but this year it was open, and I kind of liked the photo, so took it.
Yeah, it's really
Very
great.
nice.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Congratulations. 2nd
you.
place. Ed. And I believe Ed's not here tonight.
This is really nice.
Yeah, very interesting.
Congratulations to Ed.
Feels
First
like
place.
it's like an etching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
1st place. Ed also.
That's a great shot.
Yeah,
Picture.
Same sort of feel.
so much in it.
Yeah.
Where's Svalbard?
You said it was the Arctic Circle last time.
Okay, Arctic Circle. Wow.
I want to say Norway, is it?
Yeah, near Norway. Yeah.
I think it is Norway. Yeah.
Or way up, way up, way up.
Yeah. Norway.
Tripod.
The North Way or the North Way.
Congratulations to Ed.
Yeah, that's nice.
Very nice.
Monochrome Intermediate, third place, Elizabeth.
Oh, the music works beautifully with it.
Not here.
Congratulations to Elizabeth. Second place, Amy.
Cool.
Very, very unique.
Something very appealing to the rhythm of the different discs of waffle makers.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Amy. First place, Sherry.
Oh,
Oh,
Beautiful.
thank you. Thank you. I really like the depth of this one. This is up in Trinidad.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Monochrome Advanced, 4 images. Honorable mention, Laura.
Thank you.
no.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Very cool.
I like how you have the light coming in from the right, going to the left.
Thank you.
I almost get the sense of a railroad track, which is kind of
Oh, yeah.
for real.
You're up in the balcony, I guess.
Yeah.
Nice.
The choir loft, probably. Congratulations. Third place, Trisha.
Yay.
Nice. Very nice.
She loves this stuff.
Yeah.
Full texture.
Beautiful.
She will
Really?
love hearing this.
Yes. Really fabulous. It has such a flow of, for something that is static. Which is
Great
really
texture too.
Yeah.
She sees
Nice rhythm.
what I call macroscopic a lot better than
Yeah.
microscopic a lot better than she sees landscapes. Yeah, she's got an eye for detail.
Yeah, she does.
That could also be like an aerial shot, you know?
Right.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
This reminds me of a shot, I think it was Jack a few years ago, who took a shot like this and inverted it. So dark was light and light was dark, and it was
Oh,
fascinating figuring it out.
Neat.
Good idea.
Second place, Guy.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
yeah, it's
Really lovely.
He really has an eye for this sort of thing.
Mhm.
Are you here, Guy?
Congratulations to Guy. First place, Ronnie.
Oh,
Stunning.
That's amazing.
Full tree.
Stunning.
She submitted this in color in a previous competition, and based on all the feedback, now she's winning.
I wonder if that was in England.
Yeah.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, I think it's near London.
Beautiful tree. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Nice person.
Looks like something from a fairy tale.
It does.
An ant.
Yes.
Congratulations to Ronnie. Monochrome Masters, 3 images. Third place,
Yay.
Mike.
The cutest grandson.
Yeah.
He's got all of these grandkids and they're all been photographed a bazillion times.
Of course.
Never enough.
Congratulations to Mike. Second place, Herb.
Right. Nice.
Okay. Is this working? I'm on a cell phone because we had no power before.
You're
Tell
there.
about the mat that's on
You're
on
back.
the back.
Oh, okay.
It's working.
So yeah, this is in Buttermilks outside of Bishop. It's one of the world-class bouldering climbing areas in the in the world. And that's actually my son's friend, Cy, who climbed up that thing. And there's someone else also bouldering in the bottom. And then what the girl is carrying is a bouldering pad.
Yeah.
And so that's what they use to keep from hurting themselves when they fall off. And I kept her in just to have an odd number of people in the image. So
The
that
person
was
at
the
the
reason.
bottom is holding up the rock.
Yeah, he
I
actually,
didn't see him before.
he's
She's
actually
really a
climbing-
major part of the story too.
Yeah, he's climbing up or starting to climb up. So thank you.
Really?
Wow.
Nice job.
Congratulations. First place. Tony.
That's
This was
such a great
shot,
image.
this was shot in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
And, had to use free transform a fair amount to keep everything in line. But pretty much I looked up and saw it and said, oh my God, I got to capture.
Nice perspective.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah,
Does
it's a
it-
cool image.
Did you blur out the sky or how was that done?
I don't remember, Steve.
Congratulations.
Well done.
Nature Basic, 2 images. Second place. Stephanie.
Beautiful.
Little birds.
She's still here?
Oh, no.
Stephanie, you're
There she
Yes,
is.
thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Congratulations. First place. Cindy.
thank you.
Wow,
It's a beauty.
great stance.
Yeah, well done. Very nice.
Congratulations.
A nice moment with that paw just pushing away
Mhm.
dirt.
Great tail.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nature Intermediate, 3 images. Third place. Sherry.
Oh, thank you. This was Evening at Limitor. They are really fun to watch. Thank you.
I like the light on the birds.
Yeah. Is that sunrise?
Yeah.
Oh, sunset.
Sunset. Oh yeah, sunset.
Nice.
Congratulations. Second place. Greg.
Ah, great.
Wow.
Yeah, I was pretty excited to see this kingfisher with a crawfish in his mouth. You know, typically you see them with fish because they're kind of surface hunters. And crawdads or crawfish typically hug the bottom. And it was raining and the creek was rising and it was really muddy. So I could figure out that the crawdad was climbing around on the bank, trying to, get higher than the water level. But anyway, thank you.
Yeah,
Nice capture.
Fast.
nice. Great captain.
Big meal for that guy.
Brilliant.
Congratulations. First place. Mark.
Oh, that's a beautiful image.
Wow, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, if you're into tide pooling, if you haven't been to Duxbury, it's really nice up by Bolinas. We actually saw another different species of sea slug that day, as well as a lot of other interesting things going on. So watch your tide charts.
Love the light on it. It's just
Yeah, it's cool.
beautiful.
And if you look online, vibrant. You don't need to tune it up at all. They're just
Wow.
fluorescent almost. Yeah.
Wow.
So you had your rain boots on and just poking
Yeah.
around?
Almost got caught up there too.
Whoa.
I was on a rock and all of a sudden I looked around, came in faster than I thought.
Nice.
One of the
Thanks.
best
Thank you.
beautiful shots I've seen. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Nature Advance, 4 images, honorable mention. Guy.
Nice.
Almost don't look real.
Great portrait.
Yeah,
Beautiful color.
yeah, I love it. These colors are beautiful.
The mother looking straight at you with the eyes. I'm trying to imagine what it's like to see a panorama with your eyes pointing left and right.
You want to pet them.
Congratulations to Guy.
Yeah.
3rd place. Jennifer.
Beautiful.
That is the coolest plant.
It just fascinated me. This was in Greenland, and they were just growing wild all over the place. They were really interesting.
Oh, cool.
In the
Very
bog. Yeah, I had to.
Photogenic.
I wanted to bring seeds home, but
Yeah.
they weren't
Probably
seeding.
the ag department would be mad at you.
Yeah, probably.
Such a delicate plant for such a harsh environment.
It looks delicate, but they're sedges, and they're pretty tough. It was very interesting.
Gorgeous.
Great, yeah.
Gorgeous plants.
Very pretty.
Beautiful.
Happy to see this.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations. 2nd place. Pat.
Oh, thank you. Yes, just a mom and her baby, and the baby's practicing climbing. She's right behind him, as moms might be.
Sweet.
So did he go up and turn around and come back down? What did he do after this?
He went up and kind of was the king of the mountain there. This is not a very high mountain, but it's at the top of the rock. As babies want to be up high. They like to be as their parents as high as they can get.
Cute. Very nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations. 1st place. Laura.
Oh.
Great image.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun to watch these guys, and it was quite a few times they were behind the bushes and finally lucked out where it popped its head through a clearing.
Were you in a boat?
Great image.
Were you lying down?
No, it was I guess I was probably sitting down on the edge of the water.
Cool.
He's enjoying that.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Nice image.
Yeah.
Looks like a carp.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Judging by the scales and the tail shape.
There was 2 families. I think they ate all the fish because they haven't been around. I think they ate everything and left.
What river were you at?
It was actually they came up through the pond down at the Civic Center.
Really?
Wow.
That's right.
Yeah, they came up through the pipes and they were at the pond at the Civic Center, and that's a habitat they built for the birds. So
Neat.
Right. I remember you telling me about this. That's cool.
yeah. So
Not great.
and then today was the one with the flounder.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Nature Masters, 4 images, honorable mention. Liz.
Oh, thanks. I was just surprised to see these things. They're like the size of dinner plates.
Wow.
Wow. Don't want to eat them.
Maybe not.
You can actually put those in an oven.
Nice colors.
You can actually put those in an oven at a certain temperature for a certain amount of time. And I have friends that have done that and get a mild high off of them that's safe, but I wouldn't try it.
Yeah.
Oh, nor I.
Liz, is this iPhone?
It's my Samsung Android.
Wow. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Good job.
Third place. Anne.
Yay.
Oh, thank you. I almost didn't put these in because they're so hard to photograph because they lack contrast, even though they're black and white. They blend in with the background and so forth. But when I read that they were poisonous if you took alcohol with them, I thought the story was
Wow.
interesting enough that I would put it in just for that.
Yeah.
I like this one.
Oh, yeah, and then they do turn, you can see a black melted one off on the very edge of the picture, which if this was a better photograph, I would have gotten that too, because it shows how dark, inky black they get when they decompose, and that's what they use for the ink.
Yeah.
Not
Very
so-
Not so
I doubt that they write with them anymore, but this is probably long ago. But anyway.
Call that deliquescent for that mushroom.
Congratulations. Second place. Bill.
Thank
Oh,
you.
that's beautiful.
Oh, this was yours.
Yeah, we have this persimmon and every year, October, November, these birds come. I never see them the rest of the year, only on our persimmon tree.
They know when they're ripe.
And
It's
I think
such
you're
a
right. I
pretty
think it is
bird.
a little dark image.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice and sharp as always.
First place. Anne.
Yay.
Oh, thank you.
Nice.
Wow.
Wow.
I just liked all the droplets.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is that in your yard?
I took it a long time ago and I was looking at some old images, so I'm not sure where I took it.
Doesn't matter. It's really neat.
Yeah, it's cool.
But I think it was during the drought when I was astonished to see any moisture whatsoever. So it could have been around here.
Wow.
That
Beautiful.
make a good starting place for a good creative image too. That's
Mhm.
Great composition.
Portfolio, Ann, portfolio.
Yeah.
Oh.
hint, hint.
That's great.
Congratulations. Pictorial Basic, one image, first place. Cindy.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
That's amazing.
Nice eye.
Wow.
Congratulations. Pictorial Intermediate, 3 images, third place. Greg.
That's cool.
Look at that sweet thing.
Yeah, I really liked the fact that this little bird would go all the way to the top little tine on this succulent. And I considered cropping the image vertically a couple of times, but I just kept coming back to this horizontal view and I thought, that's his world. So,
Well done. Nice.
thank you.
Yeah, they're the king.
I really like the wide view because it emphasizes how tiny the bird is.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's part of the story here, or important part of the story.
It has a nice arc to it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The
And a story arc.
spines are all pointing towards him,
There you go.
all the upper ones at least.
Congratulations. Second place. Mark.
Mm,
Oh, this is beautiful. Great image.
amazing.
You're muted, Mark.
You're on mute.
Wow.
There you go.
I watched this guy actually waiting and catching them and sneaking up on them, and he was pretty good sized praying mantis. So he filled up pretty good that day.
Where did you find him?
One of my favorite spots, bees and blooms.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that looks like a straw flower.
Yeah.
I think it is actually. Yeah, they've got really good insect activity over there. A lot of different kinds of wild bees, and so there's always interesting stuff going on because there's so many flowers and plants.
It looks so big. Yeah.
It was good sized. I mean, I've seen there's all different kinds. I've seen very small ones, but he was a good size praying mantis.
How
So,
big
Yeah,
was it?
knowing straw flowers, he is big.
yeah, you get a little bit of an idea. I think that's a smaller bud, to be honest, but
Right.
you know, but it was large enough that it stood out, you know.
In relation to the bee, looks really big too.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Mark, are all these places outside so that they're able to keep the different kinds of bees? Such a variety?
Yeah, it's all outdoors, and spring is great. But you know, I go to a lot of different places, and I like Quarry Hill. But you go here, and you can literally sit and watch one blooming flower and see all kinds of different species coming out. So I'll just sit there with my camera, and lots of different wasps I've never seen. And, I mean, it's just really cool every time I go.
I mean, how do they attract such a variety?
You know, I think Bill's been there, haven't you, Bill?
Right.
He got a really great photo, if you remember, of the
wasp
carrying off. So there's wasps out there preying on other, you know, insects, the pollinators, a lot of the flies and different kinds of bees, and then they attract predators and so forth. There's a lot actually bird activity for the same reason. And if you ever go out there, the lady's just very interesting. She's highly educated, really got into the impact of pesticides and things like that on animals, does research. She's a consultant, but she's just a fascinating lady to talk to about pollinators and bees and so forth.
I wonder if she's read The Mind of the Bee. Great
Pardon
book.
me?
The Mind of the Bee, quite an interesting book. I wonder if she's read it.
Oh,
Maybe.
no, thank you. I love reading on that stuff. So I'll check it out. There's some good field guides too.
And where's this place again, Mark?
It's out on Redwood. No, what's it called? Petaluma Hill Road.
Right.
And right after you know that Kiwanis turnoff to Kmart, not Kmart, Costco. You just keep on going and you round the bend and it's just as you go past the Sonoma Mountain parking lot. And yes, she's just lots of stuff really going on. It's a fascinating place. So definitely check it out. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Sorry to monopolize the time.
No, interesting.
First place. Ellen.
Yay.
All right.
Nice.
Thank you.
Beautiful. I did work on this quite a bit. I loved this little boy, but the mirror was actually reflecting another tourist in a car.
Oh, good job.
But I have many photos of the dancers which is really what he was just about to join them. So.
Oh, wow.
So
what a great idea.
Nicely done.
It up.
Yeah, great job.
I thought that looked familiar.
Great.
Yeah, if I remember right, the is one. All
Very well done.
very well done.
Nice, Ellen.
Thank you.
Happy trails to India.
Yes. Hopefully more photos too.
Congratulations. Pictorial Advance, 3 images, 3rd place. Phil.
Yeah, I took a picture of the lamps at a restaurant in Joshua Tree, I think, and then cropped it in just so that I had 2 big ones here. The lamps were originally kind of plain, so I blended in another image with a lot of flashy colors in it.
Oh.
little selective oil painting, and then
Nice.
I sharpened the hell out of it with topaz.
Oh, wow.
Going.
Nice.
Cool.
Neat image.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Second place, Laura.
Thank you. Yeah, that was from my trip to Ecuador a couple months ago. Beginning of a wild journey down the river to where I was staying in the Amazon. Thank you.
Good job. Really cool. Well done.
Beautiful.
Congratulations. First place, Trisha.
All right.
Yay.
Good job.
Great color.
That's gorgeous.
The blue is amazing.
Yeah, you don't usually see that in the Toponi, so that's really good.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, really nice.
Yay.
Yeah, Toponi I've seen. Beautiful.
It's Trisha Knight.
Yay.
And she's not here tonight.
Yeah.
I'm texting
You'll
her.
have to watch the video.
Yeah, she thanks you, Jan. She does.
Congratulations to Trisha. Pictorial Masters, 5 images, honorable mention. And
I was thinking.
Oh, thank you. This is just a white carnation that I had, and when I opened up the picture, I saw this color, and I wasn't expecting to see color, and so I kind of enhanced it a little bit, but I didn't do very much to it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's neat.
Delicate, nice.
Gorgeous.
It'd make a great portfolio.
There.
and by the way, the 2023 portfolio competition is open if anyone wants to submit.
When's the deadline?
November.
End of October for us, I believe. Submit by, I have to upload by November
Okay.
the 1st.
So we have time.
We do have time, yeah.
Couple months.
Congratulations to Ann. Honorable mention, Steve.
Thanks. Yeah.
Is that above riverfront, kind of?
Well, you can see River Road on the right. And there's another road in front, so why I left it up. I cropped off the bottom a little bit. Because the road was really ugly there, and it's just more straight lines that were real white with the water. So it was kind of redundant water and ugly road. And I really wanted to show off the reflection of the moon and the moon.
What time of day?
Well, if you notice the road, see the taillights in the car. So the sun was down, and so I was trying to get the balance of when I'd get a good exposure of the moon before it got too dark and the moon started to get blown out.
Good timing.
Anyway, turned out pretty good. Really haven't done any photography lately, but this I just had to go do.
Good.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Third place, Herb.
Oh, well, thank you very much. The Grand Canyon is an amazing place. Everyone knows, but it's not that easy to get a good picture out of it. So this was getting up before sunrise one morning, finding a composition that worked, and just waiting for the sun to move along a little bit. So thank you very much.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Great shot.
Congratulations, Herb.
Beautiful.
Congratulations. Second place, Liz.
Oh, thanks. I saw this and I was like, the sun kind of lit up the back, and I said, gotta get this.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Couldn't not shoot that.
Yeah.
It's a great title.
That should be hanging on the
I
wall.
got that from the last judge. He said that name, and I go, yeah, that makes more sense. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a cool image.
Beautiful.
Congratulations. First place, Bill.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, just a brief moment when they all came together like this. Didn't last long. My wife calls this a bouquet of cranes.
Exactly.
Really, a nice
Great
art.
title.
Mhm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done, Bill.
Travel intermediate, 3 images, 3rd place. Elizabeth. And by the way, soupe de roche is a particular kind of bouillabaisse. Pêche locale means fished locally. So by adding Vance, France, it says that this is a coastal area of France with their specific regional variation of bouillabaisse.
Sounds yummy.
Yeah. Yes.
Congratulations to Elizabeth. 2nd place, Greg.
Very cool.
We went to St. Thomas for a week. And while we were there, we said, well, what else are we going to do? So we took the ferry from St. Thomas to St. John, which happens to be only about 4 miles. It doesn't take very long to get there. And after seeing the island and going around and looking at everything, we should have spent a week in St. John and a day in St. Thomas.
Looks nice, yeah.
But anyway, this is a good memory for me.
Nice beach.
Thank you.
Congratulations. 1st place, Sherry.
Oh, thank you very much. The bird. Thank you for picking up the bird tracks. The ravens, and I didn't mention them or the pupfish because they're not visible in the photo, and I've been admonished for that before. So it's like it's got to be in the photo. But thank you. It was January and it was a wet winter, so it was unusual.
Nice.
It was today, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, 3 years ago. It was a couple of months before COVID.
Says 126.
Yeah, we're in 23.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
Right. You are, Jerry. I got the day.
That math stuff.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Travel Advance, 3 images, 3rd place. Phil.
Yeah, so it started off as a landscape image, and like she surmised, I wanted to make it more about the climbers, and they just weren't really visible in the original image, so I cropped it in pretty tight.
Cool. One of my favorite places to climb.
Makes that rock look
Congratulations.
huge.
2nd place, Linda.
Oh, jeez. Oh, thank you very much. Really appreciate the comments on how to do something like this better again. And I was trying to think how to make it look more like, to know that it's Montana, you know, rather than like you said, Yosemite, you know, like get a sign or
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how to do that in this picture.
Beautiful image.
Mm-hmm. Gorgeous.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah, I'm naming the mountain should have done it.
Yeah, Absorca. Well, that's helpful. Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations. 1st place, Ronnie.
That's beautiful.
Cool image.
Good job, Ronnie. I love it.
I've been there. I didn't remember this. That's great.
Congratulations to Ronnie. Travel Masters, 3 images, 3rd place, Tony.
Well, this is one of the few thank you. This is one of the few pictures I was able to take when I was down there, because 1/3 of the time I was in Patagonia, I was in bed watching Netflix movies.
Oh,
Because of COVID.
Oh, man.
What a bummer.
Oh,
Congratulations. Second place. Bill.
Oh, thank you.
This
Yeah,
is
the
stunning.
instrument
Stunning,
is
Bill.
pretty interesting. It's just a tube with a bowl at the end for resonance, and then a string and a bow to get the sound. In fact, the one at the lower left, his right, is a more primitive version of the same thing, a bowl with a tube, and the strings haven't been attached yet. Pretty interesting. Very old, over 1,000 years old, this type of instrument.
What does it sound like, Bill?
Sounds like a violin. It sounds like a string instrument.
Like
Yeah. It
I love his
kind of a moaning sound. Very, very moody. Very nice.
That bowl, usually they're made out of a gourd and they have a goatskin head on them typically.
Goatskin, goatskin cover. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, which is a resonator. It's like a drum resonator.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. The one on the left is exactly that. The one on the right is a little gussied up a bit. It's
Yeah,
a little more expensive.
Very cool.
I've heard some people say it may have dated back to 5,000 BC, so it's quite old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. I don't know what to believe, but
Yeah, it's
exactly.
hard.
It goes all the way back to the mythology.
Wow.
So
That's incredible.
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Were you tempted to buy one and take it home? I would just want it.
I suppose, yeah, I'm not, I wouldn't be able to do it justice, but
No, I mean as a
just to
thing.
have, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
First place. Herb.
Yes,
Beautiful.
it's a beauty.
Oh, great, thank you. This is on a trip to Canyon de Chelly, and you get a Jeep tour with the Navajo guides, and you get to go down there. And this has been photographed a lot, but you got lucky, I guess, in the timing of this morning light. And there's a fence around it. You couldn't even get too close, but I managed to find a place where the light worked well with the image. So thank you.
I love the green with the red. It's just gorgeous.
That's beautiful.
That's amazing. Wow.
Nice angle.
Congratulations. Yeah.
But,
Best show for the evening goes to Ed.
That's
Wow.
great.
Yes.
Ah, very nice.
Choice.
Congratulations, Ed. That's great.
Excellent.
A lot of wonderful images tonight. Just amazing.
Yeah, beautiful.
Humble.
Thank you, Jan.
Thank you, Jen.
Very
Thanks
welcome.
very
Thank
much.
you for having me.
So much.
Thank
Very
you.
much.
Thank you.
We'll see you back.
Everybody, stay well.
Happy
Yes, stay
photographing.
well, please. Hang in there.
Thank you, Jen.
Get your water images in.
Jennifer and Ellen.
Oh, yeah, have fun.
Yeah, have fun in India.
Yeah.
Good job, Bill. You put it back together and kept the show going. Congrats.
Yeah,
You
pretty
have
amazing.
power?
Bill,
You
I'm
have power, Bill?
We're back
Bill.
now. Yeah.
Back, okay.
I would have been freaking out if my power went out like that. Good
Oh
job.
my God, that's
Thanks,
crazy.
Bill, for speaking.
Good night,
You're
everybody.
Good night.